A vague RFP doesn't protect you from lawsuits. It actually guarantees them. If you're a procurement director or a CIO, I want you to listen to me very carefully. We have this misconception in the public sector. We think that fairness means openness. You sit down to write an RFP for a massive project, maybe a $10 million ERP or a new permitting system or for consulting services, and your instinct is to keep the requirements broad or to copy them from someone else. I don't want to accidentally disqualify a good vendor. I want to cast a wide net. I want to see what the market has to offer. So you're writing requirements like the system must be user friendly, the system must be secure, the system must have robust reporting. None of that means anything. You think you're going to be safe, but actually you're digging a grave for the project. Because here's what happens in the real world, not the theoretical world, but the real world, where I live every day. You get, let's say, 5 proposals. One vendor's product is clunky, old, and looks like it was built in 1995. It looks like what you already have, but it's cheap. Another vendor is modern, slick, and expensive. Your committee picks the modern vendor because obviously it's better. 2 days later, after you've sent the intent to award and thanking the other vendors, you get a letter. It's not a thank you note. It is a notice of intent to protest from the cheaper vendor, from vendor A. And their argument is simple. You asked us for user friendly. We think our software is user friendly. You picked the other guy just because they were prettier. This is arbitrary and capricious. And guess what? They're right. Because you didn't define user friendliness. You turned a business decision into a beauty contest. You didn't define secure. You didn't define robust. You didn't define what reporting meant to you. And now your project's frozen. A bid protest doesn't take a week to resolve. It takes 6, 12, sometimes 18 months. While the lawyers get rich arguing over the definition of the word robust, your legacy system crashes, your staff burns out, and you, the procurement director, are under the microscope. Today, I'm going to show you how to bulletproof your RFP so that you never get that letter. So I want to break down a specific case I saw recently. Let's call it the subjectivity trap. A mid-sized city needed a new permitting and land management system. This is the lifeblood of a city. Building permits, code enforcement, inspections. They released an RFP. It was standard. It was about 100 pages of boilerplate legalese, but the actual scope of work was very loose. It asked for things like mobile access for inspectors, easy-to-use customer portal. On selection day, the selection committee sits down for demos. Vendor A comes in. They're the legacy player. They've been around forever. It's a product the city already uses. They've been around for 30 plus years. Their software works, but it requires a VPN to access. It crashes on iPads. It looks like a spreadsheet. Sound familiar? Vendor B comes in. They're the new cloud player. They have AI stuff built in. It works on an iPad natively. It looks like Amazon. The inspector's eyes light up. They're cheering in the demo room. The committee votes. It's a landslide. Vendor B wins. The city is ecstatic. They pop the champagne. 3 days later, the city attorney walks into the CIO's office and drops a file on the desk. Vendor A filed a protest. Their lawyers argued. The RFP asked for mobile access. Our system has mobile access via VPN. We met the requirement. We were $2 million cheaper. The city has a fiduciary duty to the taxpayer to take the lowest responsive bid. You only picked vendor B because you liked their colors better. The city attorney looked at the RFP. He looked at the evaluation sheets. The evaluation sheets didn't have math. It had comments like, I really like the buttons or felt modern. The attorney said, we can't defend this in court. I liked the buttons is not a legal defense. So the city had to cancel the award. They had to restart the entire procurement process. It took them 2 years to get back to the same point. And in those 2 years, their old system failed 3 times. Builders couldn't get permits. The city lost revenue, all because they were afraid to be specific or didn't know how to. So how do we stop this? We stop using feelings and we start using math. We start using requirements. You need to turn your selection process into a math problem that no lawyer can argue with. Here's a 3-step framework we use at Avero to make our clients protest proof. Step 1. Stop asking open-ended essay questions. When you ask, describe your security architecture, you get a 10-page marketing brochure that says nothing. Instead, you need to force them into a corner with binary questions. Don't ask, is it secure? Ask, is your data center SOC 2 Type 2 certified? Yes or no? Don't ask, is it mobile friendly? Ask, does the application require a VPN to function on an iPad cellular connection? Yes or no? Do you see the difference? If vendor A says, yes, we need a VPN, and you've scored that question as a fail for VPNs, they disqualify themselves. You didn't reject them because you didn't like them. You rejected them because they checked the no box. There is no lawyer in the world who can argue with a no box that the vendor checked themselves. Step 2. You cannot just let committee members vote with their gut. You need a weighted scoring matrix. Now, before you can even see a demo, you decide what matters. Security, 20%, user experience, 25%, costs is 20%, references 15%. You decide. It's subjective. What's more important to you and the organization? When your committee sets down the score, they aren't giving a thumbs up, they're entering a number. On requirement 4.2, let's say mobile access, they scored 5 out of 5. Requirement 6.1, reporting, they scored 2 out of 5. Now, here's a pro tip. Use the outlier rule. If you have 5 people on the committee and 4 of them score a vendor A 5, but one person scores them a 1, the meeting stops. That person has to explain the 1. Maybe they saw a risk nobody else saw, or maybe they are just biased. But you captured that decision in the minutes of the meeting. So if you do get a protest, if you do get sued, you show the judge the spreadsheet. You say, Your Honor, we didn't pick favorites, we ran an algorithm. Vendor B scored 92 points, vendor A scored 74 points. The math made the decision. Math wins in court every time. Step 3. The final place vendors trap you is the scope of work. They love words like implement, assist, support. Vendor will support data migration. What does that mean? Does it mean they will do it? Or does it mean they will send you a PDF guide and wish you luck? To a vendor, support means answer the phone. To you, support means do the work. Help me out. Solve my problem. You must scrub your statement of work for verbs. Don't say vendor will implement training. Say vendor will conduct 5 days of on-site instructor-led training for up to 20 employees covering modules A, B, and C. You get the idea. Don't say vendor will migrate data. Say vendor will migrate 7 years of active financial history and 10 years of archival data from the existing AS400 system. Specificity is your shield. If you can't measure it, you can't enforce it. And if you can't enforce it, you're going to pay for it twice or more. Listen, government procurement is thankless. If you do it right, nobody notices. If you do it wrong, you're on the front page of the local newspaper. But you don't have to live in fear of the protest. You just have to stop treating procurement like an art and start treating it like a science. Be binary, be specific, use the matrix. If you do that, you can stare down any vendor lawyer in the country and tell them, bring it on. And if you want to see the exact vendor scoring matrix we use for our clients, the same one that has survived dozens of multi-million-dollar projects without a successful protest, drop a comment below with the word matrix, and my team will send it to you for free.